Good morning, everyone. I'm Phil Borges. I'm co-producer, co-director of the film Crazywise. And Rude has asked me to just say a few words about what I've experienced since the film has been released in terms of challenges and surprises. And first of all, I just want to say this is the fourth year of the Crazywise Conference, which is amazing to me that it's been that long. And this will be the first year I've missed it. And I'm really sorry that that's happened because of a scheduling conflict. But I wish I were there, and I would hope to be there next year. Rude, challenges and surprises. First of all, the challenges. I would say the biggest challenge I've faced is distribution itself. I mean, distribution right now is completely a whole new animal than it was 3 or 4, 5 years ago because of video on demand, because of everybody watching on their cell phones, because of the way distributors are working now. So it's a whole new ballgame, and we've all had to learn it all over again. And quite frankly, that's an advantage for me because this is my first film, and this is the first time I've done it. So, but it's still figuring out the best way to go and who to pair with and who to do contracts with, non-exclusive contracts, most of them are. So that's been the biggest challenge, I'd say. In terms of surprises, I didn't know what to expect, so I don't know if I've been surprised. It could have been anything. I mean, with this controversial and complex topic, bringing shamanism into it, I had no idea how it would be received. But quite frankly, we've been pretty pleasantly surprised. So I have been surprised. Since we launched officially 2 months ago, we've had 80 screenings in Canada, of course, the U.S., across the U.S., Australia, South America, of course, Europe. So that's been incredible. Volunteers have stepped forward, much like they did to do the translation into Dutch. And now we have it translated by volunteers in 8 different languages. We're, in terms of our download off our website, it's been downloaded by 33 different countries, countless times. Let's see. Conferences, we've been invited to conferences in quite a bit in Europe, across the United States, Australia, and let's see, what else has gone on? Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow for Prague and Brussels for some more conferences. So I feel it's, just in the last 3 months since we've launched, we've covered quite a bit of ground. Oh, there's one more big surprise that I forgot about. We've been invited, and this blew my mind, we've been invited to do a presentation at the American Psychiatric Annual Convention, American Psychiatric Association's annual convention next year in New York, and not only to show the film, but to present a workshop along with it. And I mean, I could hardly believe we got that invitation. I mean, it's like sneaking into the big tent. And so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that that's going to happen. Yeah, I had to stop and think for a moment, but here's one. We were invited to Basel, Switzerland, to present at a large mental health conference. 1,600 mental health workers attended, all put on by the pharmaceutical industry. And quite frankly, I was a little intimidated to even go to that conference because I thought I'd be eaten alive. But it turned out good. I mean, they accepted our message with great questions after the post-film discussion. So it was great. Then, on the other hand, when we were back in the US, we submitted our film to one of the alternative conferences here that kind of promotes peer support and definitely has our philosophy. And they refused to show our film because they were afraid we would alienate one of their government sponsors. And it's a government agency here in the US that deals with substance abuse. And they felt that the film was way too, or not way too, but too anti-psychiatric, anti-medication. So they said they were too frightened to show it. So that was a surprise. We also got turned down at a film festival. And actually, the film festival was run by a friend of mine who was a person with lived experience. And he had talked to me about that before I even started making the film, or right when I began making the film. And so I thought for sure we were a shoo-in at this film festival. And he wrote back and he said, he had a couple of critiques. Number one, I didn't tell who I was enough in the beginning, why I was getting into this subject. And two, he felt like in the conclusion, we didn't bring enough of the spiritual aspects of a break into it, into the conclusion. So he said, I just don't feel I can show it to my audience. So that was a surprise. But the real surprise was the fact that after watching the film, he decided to come out to his kids about his experience when he was 20 years old. He had never told his teenage kids about it. And he did that, and not only that, he came out to his community in a talk he did a week later to his community that he lives in. So, you know, we've had this experience several times where at screenings, I've been to several screenings where people say, this is the first time I've shared this, the experience I had because of the stigma and the shame that surrounded it. So we've heard that a couple of times, and we get that in notes all the time, emails that come to us. So that makes us very happy. One of the notes said, I wish I had seen this either before or during my episode. It would have saved me years of turmoil and struggle. So those kind of things are balancing the things that are a little strange. Another strange thing happened. We sent the film out, once it was done, to all our interviewees. And we got notes back, and mostly encouragement. They liked the film. We got 2 individuals that wanted to be pulled out of the film. And one was Alan Francis, Alan Francis is an American psychiatrist who actually headed the committee that wrote DSM-4. And then he came out, when DSM-5 came out, he wrote a book called Saving Normal, which totally criticized DSM-5 for pathologizing normal human experience. And we had quotes from him in the film. If you've seen the film already, I'm not sure if you have or not, but if you've seen the film, you'll see he appears in the film several times. And what we did with all our interviewees, we sent them a copy of the piece we cut from their hour-and-a-half interview that we wanted to use, and we actually used them as blogs before the film was even produced. We sent that to everybody to get their okay, to make sure we weren't misrepresenting them or we got something wrong. And he had okayed it. But when he saw it in the context of the film, he said, this film is going to hurt a lot of people. They're going to go off their meds. You're going to encourage them to go off their meds, and it could be very detrimental. I want out of this film. And it was at the end of color mix and sound mix and all that expensive stuff you do at the end of a film. and it was going to be very expensive to pull him out. And the other thing was, I didn't want to pull him out. I mean, we just put, what he said is what he believes in, and that's all we had in the film, so we left him in. There was another individual that wanted out, E. Fuller Torrey. And E. Fuller Torrey over here in America, maybe in Europe too, I don't know, is kind of the poster child of the biomedical model. He kind of believes that schizophrenia is caused by a toxin carried by cats. And he gets a lot of airplay here. Whenever there's a shooting in the U.S., E. Fuller Torrey's on TV talking about the whole incident and stigma. And the only thing we put in the film about him is him saying that whenever there is a crisis, like a shooting, that increases stigma more than you could erase in a lifetime. And we thought that was valuable to have in. But not only did he want out, but everybody in the movement, not everybody, but several people in the survivor movement, the recovery movement, wanted him out of there. He's a total boogeyman to them, and to have him in was just too distracting. So anyway, everybody wanted him out. So we took him out, and it was easy to do because he only had that one little piece in there, and I didn't have to change the sound mix. So those were kind of interesting things. The other thing I can tell you is the film is very well accepted in the mind, body, spirit world here, the spiritual, especially here on the West Coast. We expected that. And so that's been a big support for the film. What else? Oh yeah, one more thing. Canada. They have an association up there that serves the probation officers and the correctional officers. There's like 4,000 of them across the country. And they love our film. And they want to put the film together with a workshop to play to the people who work with not only work in the prisons and with their clients in probation. They want to show it to the people that train those people. And so they're in the process of trying to come up with a workshop and the funding to do that, and they're working with us on that. So that was a group of people I hadn't even thought about that would be interested in the film, but it makes total sense. So I guess those are the surprises and the one challenge. And so I wish you all a great conference, and I wish I could be there. And thanks to everybody. Thank you, Rude, Karen, Arjen, all the people that helped put this conference on. I'm so proud it carries our name, and I hope to see you next year. So, bye-bye.